All right, Ben, tell us, who are you? Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ben Congleton. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Olark Live Chat. We build accessible chatbots and live chat solutions for thousands of businesses. And I'm super excited to be here at this Pulse conference to talk about accessibility.
All right. I don't know too many people who really focus on accessibility. So I wanted to hear more about your strategy and what is your definition of accessibility?
Yeah, I could talk to both those things. So, at a strategic level, the software industry is incredibly competitive. It is so easy to build new things. It's so easy to build new products. It is a saturated market. So, as an entrepreneur, one thing that I care about is differentiation, and I care about meaningful differentiation that matters to me and to our organization and to our culture. And so that's how we sort of ended up on this accessibility road. But stepping a little bit back to your first question of what is accessibility, I think the cleanest definition of accessibility is really comes from this Microsoft accessible design framework, and they talk about different forms of accessibility. So, for example, there's a concept of a permanent disability, right? Like maybe you're born with a particular condition, uh, uh, maybe you're born without vision, right? Or you can't hear, right? There's another form is temporary, like maybe, and this just happened to a couple of members on my team. My co-founder actually tore his bicep recently, which means on his primary arm. So he actually can't use his primary arm to type anymore. So that's a temporary disability, which means that he needs assistive technology and interfaces where he can basically use them one-handed with his non-dominant hand or using voice. And then there's also situational disability as well. So, for example, imagine you are driving and someone's yelling, so you like can't hear, or you're driving and you're looking at your phone, so visually you aren't paying attention to what's happening, or maybe you're just holding a baby and you don't have any free hands right now. So, I think that definition, as applied to design, helps us realize that all of us will be impaired or disabled at some point in our life, and it helps us think a little bit more about building solutions that are going to work for everyone, regardless of the situation that they're in. So that's where I start with when I think about accessibility, and I also look at the billion people worldwide who self-identify as folks who have disabilities as an enormous market.
Okay, so I really like that definition because I don't think I often think about the temporary or all of those kinds of disabilities. So, for a founder who's listening to this and they're just kind of like, this is a great idea. I think it's great. It's helpful. How can they look at this and see that, yes, this is a winning strategy? This can also help your business grow.
Yeah, so I think at least the way I look at it is that uh, if you serve markets where people care about the stuff, and I think we're all humans, so on some level we do care a little bit about accessibility. But if you serve markets where you serve people, then probably should care about accessibility, just straight up. Like this is something that is morally and ethically correct. Like none of us seek to go out there and build solutions that people can't use. And so let's build software that's going to reach the largest number of people possible. Moving beyond that and thinking about maybe an entrepreneurial founder who is maybe less motivated about making moral and ethical impact and more worried about just dollars. I know there's many people out there just like trying to get the next paycheck or get to the next level. A way of looking at accessibility from that standpoint is there are folks out there who will buy based on this dimension of accessibility. And you can imagine generally these are a little bit more like social impact minded organizations or that are regulated in some way. So public universities, private universities, um, utilities, municipal, public sector businesses, all folks that are kind of in that realm are regulated around accessibility by the Department of Justice, uh, both from an employee side on the Equal Opportunity Commission and on the public facing side on the ADA. And so these are all organizations that are going to make you check the box on accessibility in order to sell to them through their procurement. And their procurement processes are only getting more stringent. So if you're selling into that market, which is an enormous enormous market opportunity worldwide. And this is just in the US. If you look more globally, in the EU, there's recently there was like privacy regulation called GDPR that most of us are familiar with, but they also have accessibility regulations that are impacting uh, folks who do commerce online, et cetera. So the European market has even more accessibility regulation around it. So as you're thinking globally and you're thinking like who your target customers are, you're going to run into accessibility from a regulatory standpoint uh, in most industries.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'm imagining someone watching this is saying, okay, this makes sense. How can they figure out if their product or their software is has accessibility issues? What are some steps for them
Well,
to
so
start
I would
understanding?
start off with the fact is if this is the first time you're considering accessibility, your software has accessibility issues. I think that there's work that you can do that will eliminate these issues, but out of the box, 99% of people are going to make mistakes if they aren't considering accessibility at all. There are a set of guidelines that are they're guidelines called the WCAG guidelines, and we can link to them in the show notes or whatever, that are put out by the W3C, and they do a pretty good job of of telling you how to build stuff in an accessible manner. Um, some very basic ways of testing this could be you could go turn on voiceover on your Mac and try to navigate your website without looking at it. Odds are you're going to run into some problems. If you're using semantic HTML, that means sort of like different header levels. You probably want to double check and make sure everything is truly semantic because when you're using a screen reader, that works a lot better. And a lot of folks, when they are building responsive websites, uh, uh, building a really good responsive website actually tends to work pretty well for folks that are visually impaired because who have some vision but not no vision because you do need to zoom in quite a bit. So another test would be just to go to your interface, zoom in a bunch, and see if it's still usable and you can still make sense around it. And try like 400x zoom. And if you don't run into any problems at 400x zoom, then you're probably like doing all right. But you can also go out and use some tools, right? So Wave is a Chrome browser plugin that you can use that will run like a quick audit. It's a free product that you can just run on an individual page and start seeing things like color contrast, lacks of labels, etc. I do think that there's really no substitute for having someone who uses assistive technology to actually use your product. In our case, we have customers and end users who use that. You can also work with companies like Fable, which is run by a friend of mine, where you can pay a subscription fee and get access to a huge population of folks who use assistive technology to go try out uh, your products. But I think uh, you can kind of try a little bit on your own as a non-pro user, just try to navigate with a screen reader, et cetera. But I recommend probably doing some audits and finding some actual end users to try it out. You can really get sucked into just trying to making everything compliant, but making it compliant doesn't mean it's successful, mean it's good. It just means it's possible to use. And I think a lot of us strive to build good solutions. Moving a little bit further back in the stack, you can start off by choosing a platform that cares about accessibility in some way or another. I know that Webflow has some tools around it when you're building new products. We found, I think, the MUI UI framework was also a good place to start. Like you want to, if you choose building blocks for folks who are thinking about accessible, it's like far easier to make progress later on than trying to go back and trying to like try to build your entire foundation of your product on top of something that's kind of shaky. You want to pick a good foundation from the beginning.
That makes a lot of sense. So, as founders are thinking about this, as folks are thinking about this, what are some strategies for including accessibility into the roadmap as you keep improving your platform?
Well, I would start by ensuring that the components and the tools you're building your platform on are opinionated about accessibility on some way. Like that would be like bare bones. Make sure your CTO has some knowledge about whether the framework is accessible and some basic understanding of accessibility. Uh, I think a really good tool is to have end users who use accessibility, who rely on assistive technology, use your product from time to time. So one way you could do this is there's this great conference in Southern California once a year called CSUN Assistive Technology Conference. And if you just showed up and hung out at the bar there and brought your product, I'm sure you could find some people who would love to just try it out and give you some feedback on it. There's more structured ways of doing this, of course. In San Francisco, there's an organization for the blind called Lighthouse for the Blind. And they can set up structured testing sessions and et cetera. Fable will do something similar. I think most everyone who builds products wants it to work for everyone and doesn't want to exclude folks. Most of us just don't know anyone who has a disability or is using assistive technology, or at least we're not thinking about those people when we're developing our products. And I think what you really want is to give those people a chance to use your products and give you feedback on it the same way you would just any user testing.
Mm. So, what changes in the organizational culture when leadership really leans into accessibility, and starts focusing on making sure that the software or the product is accessible?
Well, I think at least in Olark's case, right? And I can mostly speak from Olark's case because our leadership, the leadership is coming from me and it's flowing down through the organization. If the CEO is advocating for accessibility as something that's important, it can block marketing releases. It can block, uh, QA, and I would say block in kind of a good way, because in a way, what it does is it says it's okay to slow something down to get it right. Um, and I think that ultimately accessibility needs to be prioritized within an organization if you're going to uh, do a good job of it. I mean, you could prioritize it just a little bit. Like maybe you do like some QA passes and you're like, okay, like at least it's not making us look really, really bad. But I mean, the real benefit is that it unifies the team around doing something that is meaningful, and it's something that anyone who runs any company can just do, right? It's so like a lot of folks want to make social impact by the in the work that they're doing. There's a lot going on in the world. Accessibility is something that everyone has the ability to make an impact on in their job, and is aligned with every single business that exists, because every single business is serving a population of folks that includes people who rely on assistive technology. So if you imagine what the opportunity is, it's like you can add a layer of passion to the work that people are already doing by connecting it back to this higher level meaning of serving the billion people worldwide who rely on assistive technology or identify with as people who have disabilities. So uh, and that's a pretty powerful thing. Um,
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think getting people to be passionate about something is something that a lot of folks they struggle with. So I really like this idea of being focused and passionate about accessibility and getting more people to have access to whatever your tool is or your software is. So we talked about quite a few things. Someone watching this might be saying, okay, where do I start? So if there is one thing that you would say, go and do this research or go and do this one thing, what would you say is the first thing that they should do today?
I think the absolute first decision to make is, do you care or not? Are you going to get older? Do you have parents that are going older? Like most of us are going to be disabled through our life, whether it's temporarily, situational, or permanent. So first decide whether you care or not. If you decide that you care, then make this a priority. Could be third on the list, but make it a priority. Make it something you come back to quarterly, monthly, uh, to start, right? Set some goals around it. They don't have to be big goals. Maybe the first goal is just learn more about accessibility. Maybe the first goal is run an audit on our website, like using a free tool like Wave. I think the way you make progress is by just agreeing that this is something that you care about and setting goals against it. Once you do that, you will be on a journey to create more accessible software. And it is a journey. It's not like on day one you're going to solve all the problems, and everyone has a different level of maturity around their accessibility model. But uh, agree, like decide you care, decide to build alignment within your organization that as an organization we actually care, and we're going to set some goals around it and set those goals in context to the rest of your organization and just continually make progress. I think that will get you there. And if you're looking for a way to feel inspired, there's a in May, in early May, I'm going to blank on the day, but there's Global Accessibility Awareness Day. It's a fabulous event put on by some friends of mine that's celebrated by basically most major tech companies, many college universities, and everyone puts on events that you can attend to learn more about accessibility. So the timing of this is timely because Global Accessibility Awareness Day is right around the corner. So maybe attend one of those events and start that learning journey. But step one, decide whether you care or not.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate this conversation. For people who want to connect with you, maybe they want to learn more about accessibility or they just want to connect with you because they like you. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
So I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So if you find me on LinkedIn, Ben Congleton, you can also visit our website, olark.com, and learn more about the live chat solutions that we provide, how we do them accessibly, the AI and automation that we're providing to people. Um, but yeah, LinkedIn is going to be a good way. And I always like talking about this stuff.
Thank you, Ben.
Excellent.